Madam Ambassador, it is a pleasure to speak to you and interview you for the Just Wealth Education Program. And the first question is, what drew you into South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle in terms of your own background, your family situation, and what you experienced as a young black person?
No, thank you very much. I'm Nomaindiya Mfeketo, was born in Elsa's River, Cape Town, South Africa. I think I come from a family of 8 children. Mom and dad were just ordinary working parents. And from a very early stage, we could gather as children that in our country there is something wrong. And that was caused by, the fact that we couldn't do other things that white children and white parents were doing. We couldn't be in the same place. We couldn't take the same bus. If we take a bus, we must go upstairs and that. But also, without being told as children, we could sense that there was something wrong. And as I grow older, of course, with Group Areas Act, with army in our townships, with schools that only have black people, no white people, no brown people, clearly we started feeling that there's something wrong. But I think what more than anything for me was the fear of being 16-year-old. Because then, once you are 16, you must have something, your identity, which was not seen as an identity, but as a passbook that must always be around your neck. If you don't have that, and the police come to you and ask for that, and you don't have that passbook, at that age of 16, you will go and be arrested. So those are some of the things that by the time I was 16, 18, definitely I knew there was something wrong. And it's at that age that we started to protest against whatever that was happening in our area.
And what were some of the highlights of your participation in the anti-apartheid struggle?
Well, I don't know if they were highlights or they are highlights, but looking back, maybe they were. And I started by getting involved in NGOs, because the housing systems and other things and, black communities were not catered for, full stop. Even if we were being moved, as I said, we were moved from Ance's River to Jagalsvlei. We were moved from brick house that my parents bought into being given few pieces of wood and zincs for my father to build a house for us. So we, coming from that, as we grew old, there were other things that were happening, even though there was the people who were controlling what is happening in all these black areas were white, and they were doing exactly what they want to do. So we had to somehow educate ourselves to fight. And it started at, having people who are older than us, opening up the community centers that are the centers who are built by municipalities in different areas. But then, because those people were coming from the band organization like ANC and that, But so we would go as youngsters into a community center, and this is where we gain an understanding of how we can fight this politically, because we were told about this organization that we can't mention openly because they are banned. We were told about what people in exile are doing, trying to free us. We were told about many, many things. And from there, I think I was, it was 79. In fact, 1976, I must say, was also a driving force. We were forced to learn each and every language or syllabus in Afrikaans. Doing maths in Afrikaans, doing biology in Afrikaans, doing everything. The only subjects that were not changed was Afrikaans and Xhosa, but all others were supposed to do in Afrikaans. And it was very, very difficult. Lots of people dropped out of school because of that. Now, when we got this education, and some of us left school at some point to work because we had to work. I worked in the NGO, and this NGO was really was funded by Oxfam outside the country, and it turned out to be a highlight for me. I worked in that NGO for 10 years. It was teaching people the politics, but also to know what they can do to create a business, and that. It was called Zake, and really we were teaching people how to build kitchen units, how to do certain things so that the communities who didn't have jobs can create business themselves.
And did women and girls have distinctive contributions that they made to the struggle in your own assessment?
No, definitely. Definitely. I think during our time, we, as girls and as women, we knew there were women who, were doing things even before us. Remember the women, 1956 women taking Ilando to, the government then. So we knew those women. We knew Comrade Winnie Mandela. We knew. So in a way, there were people before us that we knew if we take this road, definitely we are continuing with what they are still doing, because some of them were in jail, yes, but some of them were still working hard and being arrested every now and then and come back and do the same thing to free the country.
How big a risk was it to be a female in the struggle?
Well, it was because, of course, the way of torture was for women was very bad. It can even be rape and everything. But, we had the support of our men folk. They were supporting us to be in the struggle. Yes, I know our parents were sort of worried about that, but I think even looking back, it was important for women to be in the struggle, because this struggle to free South Africa can never be just about men freeing South Africa.
Ambassador, do you think the worldwide movement to boycott and sanction the apartheid regime was helpful to the struggle inside South Africa?
It was more than helpful. It was more than helpful. In fact, that is something, if you think about it, that was something that made the apartheid government to stop and think. Because now, it wasn't only South Africans. In South Africa, with the UDF in particular that was formed, it wasn't only South Africans. It wasn't only the people who are in exile. The very business sector in South Africa started complaining and saying their businesses are going down because of the government that doesn't want to free South Africans. So those voices, not only of Americans, voices of people from different countries, sanctions that were put to businesses in South Africa. And definitely not only that, there were meetings where South African government would go to a place with the hope that they are going to talk about how good South Africa is. Once they are there, they would find people not only from South Africa who would stand up and say, you will not talk in our meeting. You're still oppressing people in South Africa. You have no right to speak here. And this is why slowly, I mean, the apartheid government, the National Party, didn't just unban organization and release Mandela from jail. There was a pressure from all other countries, South Africa, to belong to all who live in it.
And since South Africa achieved democracy with the first elections being held in 1994, has the contribution of women leaders at all levels continued to be valued and encouraged?
Definitely, the voice of the women have continued to be valued. There are organizations, there are structures of women and even young women from the government level. I think so much have happened because at some stage there were positions that women were not employed. There were differences of salary where women were employed in that place, even if academically they are at the same level as men, but men would get more. So I think there's lots of improvement, but I must still say there's much, much more to be done, because we still have certain things that undermine the effort that is being made by women. But I mean, when I think of it, we've moved quite far from where we were during apartheid days to a place where we are able to form our organizations, we are able to do whatever we want. We have equal rights as women to any other person. So there's no what we had before, that you are a woman, you can't be doing whatever you want.
And speaking of women in leadership, we know that you had a very elaborate political career prior to 1994, but mostly from 1994 onwards. Can you take us through some of the highlights of your own political career from the time of being the first female, first black mayor of Cape Town to today?
Yes, coming from NGOs, because I went to the NGO Uzake, and I went to the NGO of, an NGO that was establishing centers for people to, legal centers for communities to be able to take their challenges there, and this NGO was funding those organizations. And lastly, I went to DEG, Development Action Group. DEG was my highlight, because it was teaching people to take part in what is done for them. For instance, we're focusing on housing, and we were, community people who would go to different communities. If municipality is going to build houses, we're saying to people, you need to be involved. You need to know what kind of houses they are going to be building for you. Is there going to be a toilet inside? Where? And all those things. And in a way, we forced the municipality to interact with communities in how they want to change their place, instead of just building houses no matter how they are and give it to you and leave. Then it's at that point that things started opening up, the unbanning and that, and I was asked, I think that's where, being in government, I started to be part of government. I was asked to bring together the small, municipalities. We didn't have Cape Town as a municipality. We would have a municipality in each and every area, be it Pinelands, Goodwood and that. So there were many municipalities in white areas, but in black areas with all those millions of people who were staying in black areas, you would just have one area that you must go wherever you are, you must go and go to Guguletu to find anything with the municipality. So I was asked to, there was a group that was formed and approaching different agencies that we prepare for the new form of whatever, because now you will no longer have just whites, colored and African. You would have one municipality. So we're sort of moving those small municipalities into Cape Town municipality. This started in 1990, 1991. And then we completed around about 1993 and established the Cape Town municipality, which is a metro for Cape Town. 1993, then we were preparing for the first democratic election in South Africa. You can imagine how exciting it was and how many people, wanted to be part of that. Not necessarily part of being in the cabinet. We didn't know anything about, being an MP and cabinet and that. So many people, even some of the people we were working with, all ran to be members of parliament. And as a community activist, I, remained behind. In fact, I told them, because people now were arguing about who goes where on the list and that. So I said, no, we're still doing work in the municipality. I'm not going to move. So I remain in the municipality. This is where, so my first, position there became a chair of this metro, which is called Cape Town. From there, 2 years later, I was appointed as the mayor of that city till, I think we served till about 95, 96, and then I continued being the mayor and no, not a mayor, sorry. I was a chair of the committee. And then from there I became the mayor of the Cape Town. I became the mayor twice. I became the mayor, and then at some stage with the election in year 2000, we lost the election. National Party was the one that won a bigger number, but not, and they went into something with the Democratic Party and were able to be the one that are controlling the Metro 200, year 2000, within a short space of time. After a year, they fought for whatever reason. National Party now requested to merge with, to come to ANC, which after long deliberations, that was agreed to, and they had a condition that, well, if they are coming to the ANC.
Madam Ambassador, I think I just want to go back to the time that you worked during the first democratic government of South Africa that was led by the late former President Nelson Mandela.
Working in an environment where President Mandela is the president of the country was very, very exciting. First, he was observing most of what we were doing as the city. When there are visitors coming to the city, when there are programs, especially programs of really, inviting people of all colors so that we can learn to live and talk together. But even more importantly, on many a times, a phone would ring and I would pick up, or at some stage, the receptionist would pick up the phone. There was a time when, fortunately, I was going to my office and I hear the receptionist saying, who must I say is calling? But in a very rough way, and I heard the voice on the other side of the president saying, tell the mayor, it's Nelson Mandela. I quickly grabbed the phone from how can you ask the president? So I quickly grabbed the phone and say, Mr. President, it's Nomaindiya speaking to you. And and here he was telling me about somebody who went to him and he referred to me, and I must listen to that person. Is going to come, she's going to come. It was a woman. She's going to come before 4 o'clock. So, there was a relationship of respect, but also, I think, just that spirit that Comrade Mandela had for everybody was something that really bring the whole country, brown, black, and white, into saying we reconcile with what was happening in South Africa and we are moving forward.
Now you have a picture next to you of a moment that you shared with the late President Mandela. Can you talk to us what was happening there?
This picture, we had a partnership with Cape Times. Again, you remember, out of all the provinces, Cape Town was the West province, divided province. So here for some time as a city, we would do programs that forces us as different racial groups to have something together and discuss and have campaigns. So this is one of the campaigns I just forgot its name. This is one of the campaigns we had that brought people to the city, but also we would also have other campaigns that would be done maybe on the 1st of December, which is an AIDS day, and bring not only people from Cape Town, but from other provinces too, to the city. So this is, our president visited us there. I think it was, I don't know if it was in the city itself or the garden that is near the city. Yeah.
Coming from having learned so many lessons from the great unifier, such as the late statement Nelson Mandela, and being in America today, where there is a huge anti-racism movement, that is gaining grounds. Of course, it's not a new thing, but it's been gaining ground in the recent years. Do you think that South Africa can play a special role in the US today in terms of supporting the anti-racism movements, and how do you see or envisage yourself playing that role?
Well, we've heard the American voices screaming and fighting on our behalf against the apartheid in South Africa. They spend lots of their time fighting for sanctions, fighting to make sure that the apartheid government doesn't come and represent their agenda instead of representing people. I think we owe them something. It is our time to assist in whatever we can, not necessarily paying back, but creating a better world for everybody. Surely how would be dictated by those comrades who understand that we are where we are today because of them. How do I assist? I think both South Africa and the United States have been through a lot. At the moment, yes, I'm a diplomat sent to America, so there are certain things that I cannot do as a diplomat, but definitely together with lots of people who can see what they want to take this country, we will be able to assist from a distance. So yes, one of my role being here, yes, it can be trade and investment from South Africa to US and US to South Africa. But also, it can be building a formidable relationship that these countries would be much closer. Of course, if countries are closer, the people of those countries would also be closer to each other.
Thank you so much, Venerable Ambassador, for your time. Is there anything you want to say in closing, just in terms of the space women now occupy in the world? We've just had the first female vice president in the US, and the space that young girls are now growing up in, watching women take their place in leadership.
Well, I think for each and every woman, what happened in the last election. A first black woman being elected as a deputy president. It's something that we are very excited about. Now, surely it means there's work, lots of work to be done. In fact, just looking at the executives and that have been elected since the election and nominated into very important positions, clearly what you see here is the equality of women in whatever needs to be done. And those are the same women who were champions of motivating communities in different areas to come and vote and bring back America. I'm confident that Deputy President Harris would influence lots of young children, young women, to know that there's nothing stopping them in this country and hopefully in many other countries to be the presidents of those countries, let alone the deputy president. Thank you very much.
Thank you.